Hi everyone. We will wait for a couple of more minutes to allow everyone to join. Thank you. Hi everyone. Let's wait for one more minute to allow everyone to join, and then we will start. Thank you for your interest in DRG4FOOD. Hello everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Maja. I'm Open Call Manager at DRG4FOOD project, and I'm here to guide you through the Open Call application and evaluation process. As you know, DRG4FOOD is an EU-funded project. It's basically a responsible tech accelerator. We're looking to support innovative solutions that are basically data-driven, that are built on the requirements on digital responsibility goals, and that are strongly user and citizen centered. Today, apart from myself, we will listen we will get to know what are digital responsibility goals from my colleague Ferdinand from Identity Valley. And we will also get to know Foodity Open Call. Foodity is our sister project. They are also doing amazing things in terms of data-driven innovations, and Nika will be there to introduce you to their open call, which is also currently running. Before I dig deeper into the DRG4Food open call, I first give the floor to Ferdinand. Ferdinand, the floor is yours. Feel free to explain the concept of digital responsibility goals and how we want to see them being implemented in the course of the winning project. Ferdinand?
Thank you, Maja. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I'll share my screen. Okay, it should be up there now. Hi and welcome. Yeah, I will give you a short update of the DRG part, basically, of this of our project, and which is instrumental to making this a call not about just technology for the food sector, but much more about responsible technology for the food sector. And I hope that I can give you some insights of what differentiates our project from like basically normal accelerator or other projects. So yeah, why DRGs? What are the DRGs, and why are we doing this? First, I'll take a step back. Basically, I'm starting with the why, and also why it should be a smart idea, maybe from your own company perspective, to look into basically the still niche responsible technology ecosystem. I brought here basically a study or like a survey from last year, no, from 2022, but this is basically consistent since the beginning of e-commerce as well. Like there are also sources from 2000 that people really care a lot about data privacy and basically cybersecurity. Even more in basically the Western European countries, but this is something that you can find consistently, which clashes a bit with the now basically state of play in the digital ecosystem, that privacy is rudimentary respected, and that ways to elicit data, for example, are always trying to be found around legislation. For example, and this is basically maybe something that's a bit more tangible, with really rudimentary research, a lot of samples from the digital food sector where basically these things are not really really well played. So from the wellness chatbot that gives wrong advice to basically data leaks and privacy nightmares. So we get there. We from Identity Valley, we're these ethical or responsible kinds, and for assessment of situation, there still is a lack of orientation also on the side of developers and providers of technologies. On the one side, also, but increasingly it's getting better, but also on the side of the technology user, there's also lack of information. If you're a consumer or user, you have a hard time to identify those products that are more responsible, more privacy respecting, or are more cybersecure than others. So where we started with Identity Valley and the project DRG4FOOD is basically how can we guide developers and basically also providers of technology towards responsible technology, and on the other side, empower consumers to make informed choices. So this is basically where the DRGs come in. You might have noticed that they have a resemblance to the Sustainable Development Goals, which are an overarching framework to enable more sustainable behavior in business and yeah, basically worldwide. But what is crucially missing here is that there is no digital dimension to this. This is about sustainability really in a more ecological way of the meal. So what we basically provided is an addition, and we call them the digital responsibility goals, and they are meant to enable companies, but also society and civil society to gather around a common framework, a common North Star towards more responsible digital technologies. You see, it was developed with digital experts from different fields, so it's a holistic approach to say that we have to basically these 7 dimensions where we need to act to provide more responsible digital technology. But the crucial thing is, how do we put them into action? And this is where you come in, or where DRG4FOOD comes in. Because what we noticed is that, of course, these 7 dimensions or 7 goals, they are nice to have. They're basically, they already provide you an idea of where the things are that you need to act upon. But crucially, you need something tangible. You need something more concrete to act. So what we have here are the guiding criteria for each of the goals. But still, this is maybe too abstract for software development, from a software development perspective. So what we're concretely doing is translating those overarching goals into more concrete guidelines or actions. So what you need to do for this call is specifically, and this is what differentiates it from other calls maybe, to specifically basically explain how you're trying to achieve a more responsible basically outcome than would normally be the case. Basically, you need to give information if it's basically where applicable. You need to explain how you, for example, achieve privacy by design, or how you are implementing cybersecurity of your databases that you're working with. And this is one of the crucial evaluation criteria. I think you will hear more about the others from Maja. Basically, this will be decisive also in who is going to be picked for basically who is going to win the call and who might be ranked lower. This can all be found on our websites. I won't go through all these more specific questions, but you're not alone in this. If you should be successful with this call, we'll provide you a playbook, for example, that gives you firstly ideas to ask yourself questions about the design, give you a checklist of basically see what you can improve, and crucially resources. And there I should also mention that there is a specific toolbox that we have that we will provide in the project, where you can have a searchable database where you can find not only resources that are basically trying to guide you towards more responsible technology, but also tools, basically open source software snippets or building blocks to implement more responsible technology. But this maybe Kai or someone can explain in more detail later on, or at least touch upon it again. So in the end, what we are trying to do is really really go beyond a normal process of building technology for the food sector and infusing the design and development process with responsibility by implementing those goals. And if you're not convinced, and I know that for startups and for smaller companies or middle-sized companies, it's always a question of resources. And it's clear that there needs to be something in it for you, and it's maybe money, but there might be more. Because we're quite convinced that you're doing something that will basically enable your skills for the future. Because if we look into bigger studies in the US, then we see that there is a wave coming of a more responsible technology movement, that more and more really senior executives have basically understood that this is something akin to the sustainability initiatives, and that will be much more important in the coming years. So by basically honing your skills, by participating in DRG4Food, you might do something that will be much more valuable in the future. And this is not only hypothetical. We can already see this also with adoption of technology, that if people trust your technology, then adoption is higher, basically. So it should be a win-win in the end, but somebody has to start. And with that, I wish you good luck and a successful webinar. And I'm open to all your questions also bilaterally. You can find me on LinkedIn, Ferdinand Ferrolli, or on our project webpage. And with that, I give back to Maja.
Thank you, Ferdinand, for the presentation. We had some technical glitches, but I believe that the most of your the most important parts of the presentation.
Sorry for that. Yeah.
No worries. In any case, Ferdinand is available through his LinkedIn directly. If you have any questions regarding DRGs, of course, you can always write to us via our official email, opencalls@drg4food.eu. We usually reply very, very quickly. Let me just double check if we have any. Yes, we will going to share the presentation and the recording after the session. The project would start, if accepted for funding, on September 1st. So this is the latest starting date. Ferdinand, this one is for you. What is the EU classified information? Can you just briefly explain this one?
I'm not entirely sure where this comes from.
This is a question. This is a question, but I'm not sure where.
I see the question, but I don't entirely. Maybe you can elaborate in the chat. Because I don't know where this.
I believe so. This is the EU jargon. Maybe I don't sure if I recall it well. If it's maybe in our ethics questionnaire. In any case, it's basically when talking about EU project in general. Basically, it's confidential information on EU, usually EU state level or some. Highly relevant organizations, government or similar. I don't think that any of our projects will have such information. And another one from Athanasia, is there any limit for each partner's funding percentage? No, I will explain this a bit later when I start my presentation. I guess this is all. Thank you, Ferdinand. And now let me just share my screen, and then we will start with the main part. And this is the open call. I believe you can see my screen now, right? So Milica, can you just please confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Thank you. So of course, we will have room for questions after my presentation. So please keep posting the questions in the Q&A option. So who we are and what we do. As I said in the beginning, DRG4FOOD is a, let's say, responsible technology accelerator. Our goal behind our open calls is to give a boost to digital solutions in the food sector. The focus is on empowering citizens, safeguarding their data rights, and overall supporting sustainable food systems. All our activities are in line with the digital responsibility goals. And as Ferdinand mentioned, during your projects, you will have full support in implementing relevant digital responsibility goals in your technology roadmap. The whole playbook on the DRGs and then full information can be found on our website under resources page. This is our second open call where we invite small teams, small consortia of 2 or maximum 3 entities, legally established entities, including startups, SMEs, research organizations, universities, end users, and similar. And we fully encourage active engagement with end users in your development processes. Our focus areas are food tracking, targeted nutrition, and consumers' food choices. Again, you can find more information and some examples of what we could expect in these 3 domains in our guidelines for applicants. And in your applications, you will have to select only one of the 3 challenge areas. Again, we fully encourage engagement of citizens and end users in your developments and in your application in part B template. Please make sure to elaborate on what kind of activities are you planning with citizens and users. Now, end users don't have to be directly included in your consortia. It's encouraged, but you don't have to engage end user organizations directly. There are other ways, other means that you can elaborate also in your proposal, proposing, for example, workshops or some small test studies and similar. So there's a range of activities you could think of to engage end users in the development, to extract their requirements, to test the solutions, and in the end to pilot in the end. For the open call tool, we have a budget of 973,000 euros. Each project should submit a proposal with the budget ranging from 150,000 to 350,000 euros. We expect that at least 3 projects and maximum 6 projects will be funded. The question that I keep receiving is how do we decide how many projects will be funded? It simply depends on the ranking list and how much budget do the top applicants request in the end. For example, in the first open column, we had in the end 4 selected projects. This is because I think two of them requested smaller amounts than 300,000. So we had slightly more budget to support the 4th project. We don't know what would be the case for this open call. However, it's minimum 3. For example, if the top 3 applicants request 300,000, it will be 3 projects. But if they request some smaller amount, it will be probably 4 or maybe even more projects. Importantly, the financing rate is 100%, meaning that whatever you request, this will be distributed to you in the form of installments. There are 3 payments, and I will explain this in a couple of slides, but important is that there is no co-financing requested from you. Your projects will be fully funded by DRG4FOOD. Portfolio of services. First, there are materials, guidance, activities and tools for implementing DRG digital responsibility goals along your development processes. The DRG playbook is already available on our website. You can get introduced yourself before starting your application, for example. But when your projects start, Ferdinand and his colleagues will be there either through one-on-one coaching and also through some webinar and support sessions to further introduce you to the concept of DRGs and explain how exactly you can make use of them in your concrete projects. Now, there is another important, let's say, asset that's a platform that we have designed called DRG4FOOD Toolbox. Basically, it's a catalog of open source tools to support your product development roadmap. So from the design to testing and implementation, even planning, there are a number of, I think more than 60 open source tools that you can use along the way. More importantly, we also expect contributions to the toolbox. So it's a two-way relationship. On the one side, you're free to use any of the tools that you can see there. And on the other side, we expect that once you receive the funding from us, that you will also be willing to give back to the community, either in the form of some, for example, data sets that you will be open to sharing, or any other maybe papers that you're planning to publish, or even through some, for example, open source licenses under which you can open your solution to the wider community. Of course, open source doesn't mean give away your solution for free. This is not our intention at all. So along the way, again, our colleagues from Twins will be there to support you to select the most appropriate license under which you can continue your operation even after your project ends. In the end, the toolbox is basically a listing of various solutions that can support trustworthy development of your products and services. Another type of support that we offer is business guidance and investor readiness. Just this morning, we had one of our support sessions concerning different types of investments, and this is what you can also expect once your projects start. So on the one hand, you receive let's say mentorship support. One of our project partners will be there for your monthly meetings to basically double check if you have any issues, to answer any questions that you might have, to seek even further guidance from any other our team member, to basically to be there every step of the way. And on the other side, there are support sessions on tech and business issues that you will attend together with other open call winners. And important part is the boot camp that we are organizing in October. So when planning your budgets, please make sure to include the dedicated travel budget for a one-day meeting in Munich in October this year. This will be a mandatory activity for all open call winners, and this is where you will get the chance to meet all of us at DRG4FOOD and also other open call winners from calls 1 and 2. And lastly, there's a range of communication activities that we are organizing through our community. Each of your projects gets a dedicated page on our website, and some, let's say, tailored activities, including podcasts, for example. One of the podcast sessions with one of our winners is currently being planned. We also have a quite a big community of partners in publishing. For example, two of our projects are now being interviewed for one of the largest food-related magazines. And so on and so on. So the activities keep going, but in a nutshell, this is what we offer to you once you join, once your project is selected, and once you officially start working with us. Now, some eligibility rules. As I said in the beginning, our call is accepting only applications from a small consortia, meaning that in order to apply, you cannot apply as a single entity or as a single natural person. You have to have a legally established organization behind you to support you, and to team up with at least one or two more partners. So the minimum number of partners is 2. The maximum is 3. There's another rule that you have to take into consideration, and this is that there must be at least 2 different countries present. So one partner coming from one country and another coming from another country, but at least one of the 2 countries has to be a new member country. This is a new rule that we didn't have in the first call. The reason that we changed it is the fact that we had really many applications coming from a single country. Many of those applications were even outside of Europe. They were, of course, eligible. However, in order to make sure that our impact is wide, in order to make sure that the projects have that are selected have strong bases for scaling up across different countries and regions, not only to be present in their own already existing region. We introduced the rule to make sure that at least this basis for scaling up across Europe is present. So if you're planning to apply, make sure to have at least 2 countries in the consortium, one of which has to be an EU member country. For example, if a partner from Serbia is looking to apply, Serbia is not an EU member state. They have to team up from someone from EU. The full list of eligible countries can be found in our guidelines for applicants. So if you're looking for partners, double check the eligibility in terms of countries. Now, in terms of types of organizations, we're looking for startups and SMEs, of course, that are legally established by EU law of an EU recommendation for definition of SMEs. Again, the full definition can be found in our guidelines for applicants. Large companies are not eligible. By large, I mean those that have more than 250 employees, and I believe more than 50,000 euros of balance. Just don't take for granted for this one. Please double check the EU SME definition. In any case, startups and SMEs are eligible, but large companies are not. Then who else is eligible? Research organizations, universities, either private or public. They are all eligible. Laboratories, for example, it's all eligible. You can team up with them. And you can also include, again, technology adopters. users in the food sectors in the form of some civil society organizations, regional development agencies. We also have this case in one of our winning projects already, NGOs, associations, and similar. So these are some of the general rules. Please double check your eligibility in our guidelines for applicants. And in case you have some concerns, please let us know. We will try to help you as much as possible. So double check eligibility in the guidelines and make sure not to have any conflict of interest, for example, either with DRG4FOOD consortium partners. For example, if you're linked to one of our partners, you cannot apply. We also have had the question recently whether it's possible to subcontract, for example, one of the winning projects from the Open Call 1. This is not possible, so such cases are not possible. You can subcontract up to 25% of the budget, but you cannot subcontract someone who has already received the funding from the Open Call 1. So basically, Open Call 1 winners cannot participate in Open Call 2. Now, regarding the evaluation and selection criteria, we have 4 of them. Those are technology excellence and innovation, digital responsibility goals, the alignment with DRGs, then your impact, and basically your consortium qualifications and how you allocated your resources. Those are 4 evaluation criteria corresponding to one of the 4 main sections in the proposal part B. The part B template is basically the document where you will be answering the questions and basically explaining what your project is about. In the technology excellence and innovation, we expect you to explain the novelty of your solution, to explain the concrete objectives behind your project, to explain the progress beyond the existing state of the art. Then in the DRGs, Ferdinand showed you a screenshot of the questions, and there are, I believe, 10 or so questions, really straightforward, that ask you, for example, how you plan to protect data rights, how you plan to ensure that cybersecurity, for example, is secured, and similar questions. Please try to be as concrete as possible. It's probably the case that you already have some measures in your organizations already in place regarding the specific questions. So just think of what you already have, and if you don't have, for example, then think how you can implement, what kind of measures can you implement to make sure you are compliant with our main requirements in this section. Then, with respect to the impact, please try to elaborate a bit more on the proposed impact, societal, environmental, and also economic. Again, please be specific as possible, trying to quantify your arguments where possible. We expect to see numbers behind your plans. Some financial projections, for example. And another important part here is the open source, basically contribution, how you plan to give back to the community. Again, try to be as concrete as possible with respect to these measures. And also important is the IP ownership. So think of who owns what. If your project gets selected, by who, I mean who of your consortium partners owns which part of the solution. The last criterion is the last section is basically where you explain who are organizations in your consortium and how did you got together, what are the qualifications of the different individual team members, and how you have structured the project per each phase. Now, there are 3 phases. Each of the phase has certain duration and certain deliverables behind. There are 3 mandatory, basically, deliverables. So make sure to plan your individual activities in line with these phases. I will explain a bit more in a couple of slides. Now, with respect to the enabling technologies and what kind of technologies are we looking for, the list that you see here is only a tentative list that we would like to see. This does not exclude other types of technologies. Again, mostly we are looking for privacy enhancing technologies, blockchain and other DLTs, responsible AI, and similar. Again, this list does not exclude other types of technologies that could contribute to the to enhancing citizens' rights over their data. The timeline. The call is open until 21st of June, 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time. There will be no extensions to the deadline, and the only submission platform is the F6S platform. Please try to start your applications on time. Don't wait until the deadline to start the application, upload all the necessary documentation, collect signatures for the documents. This is very, very important. We had a couple of applicants who simply did not manage on time and asked us if we can accept their applications after the call deadline. This was unfortunately not possible. So please try to respect the deadline. If you have any technical issues with the platform, please let me know. Now, after the call deadline, there will be an eligibility check, basically to double check whether the consortium requirements are met, whether the countries present in each one of your projects are eligible, and whether all the documents are in place. And after the majority of proposals go then to the remote evaluation phase, where each proposal is evaluated by one internal and one external expert. Their comments then and scores are then summarized, and in the end we have a ranking list. There will be basically a calibration meeting to make sure that all that there are no major differences between evaluators 1 and 2. It can happen, although it's not too often, that one evaluator gives, for example, a score of 2 and then the other one gives a higher score. The purpose of this calibration meeting is to make sure that the scores between evaluators are balanced and that there are no major conflicts. Then each proposal will get its evaluation summary report with scores and also comments from both evaluators, and the top proposals will be invited to the contracting phase. The project will start in September, and then in October we have our bootcamp where you will also meet Open Call 1 winning projects. There are 3 phases: planning, development, and scaling up. The planning phase is the shortest one. At the end of the phase, basically you are required to submit your requirements planning report, whatever we can call it. Basically, it's a document elaborating a bit more than what you have in your proposals on the exact timeline of activities, solution requirements, specifications, and similar. Of course, each one of you gets its own coach, and you start your monthly sessions. And then after the approval of the first deliverable, you enter the actual development phase, which can last between 3 and 8 months. Please mind the duration of the project when requesting the full budget. Sometimes it does not make sense to request the full budget of 300,000 if your project is not going to last 12 months, but will be shorter. The third phase is all about scaling up. This is where most of the focus will be on communication activities, on end user engagement, engagement of potential investors, maybe even corporate partners, and of course the development of your business plans. Of course, communication activities should be spread equally across all three phases, but the most, let's say, communication budget should logically be in phases end of phase 2 and phase 3, whereas end user engagement is requested from basically day one of your projects. I already explained this part. Basically, the three phases. The first one is the shortest one, at the end of which you have your specification deliverable. After it's approved, you receive up to 30% of your total budget, and you enter phase 2, which again, depending on your needs, can last between 3 to 8 months, where you actually implement the work plan you previously delivered in phase 1. You receive technical support from our side to make sure that your developments are aligned with digital responsibility goals. And please make sure to include citizens and users. This is very, very important from day one of your projects. At the end of the phase 2, again, you submit a report to us on your conducted activities, and you receive another payment from our side. Up to 50% of the total project budget will be released to you, and then you enter the last phase, which is all about planning, the business planning, business modeling. And most of the support activities from our side will be in the form of, for example, investment readiness, lean canvas, and similar. At the end of the phase, you receive the final payment, and then your projects are basically done. Again, I would like to stress out that the end user engagement is important from day one. Please make sure to explain what kind of activities you will be conducting with end users. Are those interviews, workshops, some sessions? So think of different activities you can engage end users, and explain for what purposes and in which phase. This is really, really important. Another important aspect is the contribution to the wider community through the toolbox. Again, our toolbox is basically a listing of the different tools and technologies. So think of what aspect of your work could be present there. If you're looking for partners, we have a matchmaking service. There are quite some chances that you can actually meet someone from using this service. We have now at this point in time more than 15 applicants who are looking for support with respect to matchmaking. Still, you can sign up free of charge. Again, we have no interest in this apart from helping you find relevant organizations so that you can apply together, and we'll only request some really small pieces of information just to be able to know what kind of partners are you looking for. Please click on the link and submit the matchmaking application form if you're looking for partners. And there will be also a recording from our matchmaking session that we had last week. So again, you can watch the recording on the website. Just to double check if any of the organizations that were present then is maybe a match for you. Now, how to apply? Please, first of all, go to open calls, drg4food.eu/open calls. There is a dedicated page. At the end of the page, you will see, first of all, our guidelines for applicants. It's a PDF file with basically detailed information on eligibility, application process, evaluation criteria, and so on. This is your first stop. Then please visit the link fsuccess.com/drg4food open call number 2. This is where you actually start your application, and you will see a couple of sections. In one of them, you have to upload your documents. The documents are as follows. First of all, you have the technical proposal. This is the part Annex B that can be downloaded from our website. Download, fill in the application, but don't wait until the very last date. Annexes C, D, and E should be signed. Annex C is only signed by your project lead. So one of you can decide who can be the official coordinator, let's say. That partner signs the Annex C. Annex D is signed by all partners in the consortium, and Annex E should be signed only by SMEs in the consortium. So if you have one SME, only one SME declaration is requested. If you have two SMEs, then both SMEs have to sign, to fill in and sign, and then just combine the documents into a single document. So those three documents are mandatory. You won't pass the eligibility check if you don't submit these documents. If you have any issues with the platform or questions regarding the documents and the signature, please write to the email that you can see on our screen. Once again, please respect the deadline, June 21st. The eligibility, you cannot apply as a single entity. You have to partner up at least 2 and maximum 3 partners from at least 2 different countries. We are looking for responsible technologies in food tracking, targeted nutrition, and consumers' food choices. And if you have any questions, please write to us on opencalls@drg4food.eu. You can also join us on our Telegram group, t.me/drg4food. That would be all from my side for the time being. Your first next stop is our website, drg4food.eu/opencalls. Download all the documents, and in case of any issues, technical issues, questions, or doubts, please write to me. I will make sure to reply to you as soon as possible. This would be all from my side, and now I invite Nika to present the Foodity open call. Nika, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great.
Perfect.
I'm not able to turn on my camera, so sorry
No
about that. But I will just go ahead and get started with the presentation. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, full screen also.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Maja, and to the DRG4Food team for giving Foodity a little bit of space to introduce the project and our open call. I'm just going to tell you very briefly about the project before diving into the open call itself. So I am Nika Levikov, and I am the open call manager. There's also Samuel Almeida. I'm not sure if he's here with us. I don't think so, but he is the coordinator of the project. And just a bit about what we're about. So Foodity really wants to do two things. So we're looking at food systems from both ends of the spectrum. We're thinking about the individual and how an individual can be empowered by understanding how what we do when we shop, when we buy something, when we consume, that we are creating data and taking ownership over that data and having an understanding of how those data are managed and used. On the other end, we're looking at food systems and wanting to transition not just to more sustainable systems, but part of that is creating openness. So we want open science, we want open data. We want to live in a world where data is more accessible so that more people can access these data and come up with more innovative solutions that are needed to transfer into that sustainable future. Our core activities are around the open calls and the pilot program, which I'll be talking about. We've also built some data architecture around management of data and GDPR compliance, and I'll touch on that as well. And of course, we're very focused on citizen engagement because we need to be engaging citizens if we want citizens to also be aware of how they can be empowered through understanding their own data. So let's get into the open calls. The pilot program is a two-phase approach where the first phase is going to be 9 months. This is the core part of the program, and it is focused on project implementation. There are going to be 6 pilots who will be funded in this second iteration of the program, up to 150K, and it's broken down into 3 stages, focusing on specification and design, implementation, and validation. In the beginning part of this phase, the selected pilots will be working with our mentors and experts to refine your KPIs. So we're looking at technical, business, social KPIs, also refining your citizen engagement plan and your data management plan. So when you are preparing your proposals, we want to see a description of all of these things, but with an understanding that we will work with you to really make sure that your KPIs are realistic and achievable, and also to address any questions or issues you may have around your citizen engagement activities. Then in phase 2, it's really important to note that only 3 of the 6 pilots will be passing on to this phase, and is focused on impact optimization. There's up to 30K in funding. This will be focused on pilot testing and business sustainability. So what we want to see in this 1 year are solutions that are getting ready to go to market. Now, it's important to note that the TRL that you enter in is going to be between 4 and 6. We understand that if you are at TRL 4 entering the program, it's not going to be possible to scale to 7. However, we would like to see working towards reaching TRL 7 at the end of the program. Now, the final event is going to be the Foodity Star Award. And the remaining pilots will be presenting their solutions to a jury, and the top solution will receive an additional 7.5K. So who are we looking for? We would like to see consortia that are a mix between tech, social innovation, and citizen engagement. The lead must be a tech startup or SME that's based in Europe. And then we have research and technology organizations and universities. Maybe you are working on advancing research and solving challenges around innovation for food and nutrition sectors. Also, social innovation actors. So this can be for-profit, this can be not-for-profit. The important thing is that you have a partner that is bringing in that social innovation expertise and really focused on innovations that are somehow improving human well-being. And training organizations count as well. So perhaps you are providing training for professionals for careers in the food industry. So this means that your consortia must be multidisciplinary. In the case of 2 partners, 2 SMEs are allowed. However, if you are forming a consortia of 3 partners, then the third one must be a nonprofit. Oh, and the other thing to note is that since we are focused on Europe, not only must the lead partner be from Europe, but we need to see a work plan that shows you are either already in the European market or your intention to penetrate the European market. What kind of solutions are we looking for? So we have 3 themes here: shopping experiences, education, and services. These are intentionally broad. You can read more about what we're looking for in our guidelines, but the key things to note here are we are looking, for example, how can you make the shopping experience easier, more pleasant? How can people really learn what does it mean to make a sustainable choice in relation to what you're buying? Services. Perhaps you have an idea that can enable shortened food supply chains. So we would like to see solutions that bring citizens in, but also that can fit into any part of the food supply chain. Okay, that's fine. We also have an open challenge in case you have an idea that doesn't subscribe to one of these 3 themes, but please be aware that at least 1 theme per project will be funded. All of the pilots must use the data architecture that we've built. This means that the data you are collecting from citizens will be stored in our data lake and must be anonymized in order to be in the data lake. And then, of course, you will be required to incorporate the data use. So if you have an app, for example, your users will move to the data U to agree to share their data. So this is a GDPR compliant software. And then they will go back to your app if an app is your solution. We also have 5 optional components. You can look at our components online. We have a technical annex that explains them in detail. The components are focused on different things. For example, a nutrition ontology, food ID from photos. These, again, are optional, which means that if you include the components in your proposal, you will not receive any extra points. So how we're evaluating this is going to be based on 4 key criteria. Concept and challenge. We need to see that your solution, of course, is aligned with Foodity, and there needs to be a clear explanation of the challenge that you're addressing and advancement of the state of the art, impact and innovation. We want to see impact, of course, that goes without saying. We would like to see both qualitative and quantitative indicators, as well as short-term and long-term projected impacts. We understand that it can be difficult to understand long-term impacts, but it's important to show that you have been thinking about this. This also means that we want to see your contributions towards empowering citizens. How do you see yourself fitting into this transition to more sustainable food systems? Then we have data rights and citizen engagement. I mentioned earlier that we want to see your plans for data management and citizen engagement activities. So make sure that you outline how you plan to engage citizens both in phases 1 and 2. This means that we expect citizen engagement from start to finish. Team and implementation. You must have the team that will be in the pilot program. You must describe this team in the proposal, which means you have to have that strong team with the capacity for the technical, the social innovation, and the citizen engagement at the start. We'd like to see your proposed KPIs in this section, and a reminder that we will work with you to shape your KPIs in more detail at the start of the program. And of course, it's important to have a very clear work plan with clear objectives. So each proposal will be evaluated by 2 external evaluators. The top proposals will then proceed to interviews with our Foodity consortium. Each criteria is going to be scored from 1 to 5, and the threshold is 3 points. Here's a look at our timeline. So our open call is open now. It's going to be closing on the 10th of July promptly at 5 p.m. CET. And like DRG4FOOD, we're very strict here. We will not be taking any late applications, and you must submit on F6S. Then from July, after the 10th, we will do an eligibility check. If you have not passed, we will notify you. Those that do will proceed to an evaluation. All proposals that are evaluated, whether you are invited to participate in the program or not, will receive an evaluation summary report. We will proceed with ranking and selection, administrative check, and contracting in October. The pilot program will start on the 1st of November and go for 1 year. What are we offering you? Of course, everyone is attracted by the funds. There's up to 187.5K being offered here, but that is perhaps not even the most important part. You are getting access to technology, expert mentoring and coaching and technical training that is tailored to your needs, and these are very crucial for scaling. I've talked already a bit about the data architecture that we have built in this program. So once again, the DataU is a GDPR compliant cloud-based platform that you have to use. The data lake is a centralized repository for the data that you will be collecting. This is going to stay active post-project, and bear in mind that you are required to submit 3 data sets to the data lake that can be publicly accessible as well post-project. Just an overview of everything that I've talked about. Once again, our call is going to be closing on the 10th of July, promptly at 5 p.m. CET. You must submit your proposal via the F6S platform. We don't accept late submissions. We will not accept submissions in any other form, and they must be in English. We are looking for consortia that are a mix of 2 to 3 entities led by a tech startup or SME and inclusive of a social innovation actor. We are looking for data-driven solutions in food and nutrition domains that are also respectful of personal data sovereignty. The TRL minimum is 4 to 6. We would like to see scaling to 7, but as I've mentioned earlier, scaling to 7 by the end of the program is not a requirement, and that depends on what level you're at when you enter. If you're not already following us on LinkedIn and X, please do so. And just some important links for you. So we have the project website. We also have the application link on the F6S platform. There is a Q&A and discussion forum there. If you have other specific questions that you couldn't find an answer to in our guidelines, which please do make sure that you read carefully, you can send us an email. If you're having specific issues with the F6S platform, you can contact our support team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nika. And in the meantime, I have answered, I believe, most of the questions, but I would like to stress out an important rule regarding the eligibility criteria. So just to be on the safe side that everyone understands. 2 SMEs, this is eligible. 2 RTOs, this is eligible. Alternatively, you can include a third partner, for example, an NGO. However, 3 SMEs are not eligible. This is also a rule that is written in our guidelines for applicants. Sorry for my first wrong reply. So 3 SMEs are not eligible, 2 are, but you have to have, if you want to add a third partner, the third one could be either an RTO or an NGO. I hope this helps. The session will be recorded. Let me just double check if we have any further questions. Financial projections. Okay, regarding the financial projections, again, these are only your preliminary estimates. These should be realistic to extent possible. The period for which we expect is basically maybe 5 or 7 years after the project. We just want to make sure that you have vision ahead and that you are realistic in your planning activities. Of course, we know that income will change from month to month, from year to year. Just make sure to be realistic in your projections. That's all. Lead needs to be from EU. No, lead for DRG4FOOD, the lead partner can be from any eligible country. The EU partner can be either a lead or a project, regular project partner. So there is no restriction there. Also, there are no restrictions in terms of percentage of budget dedicated to each partner. So there are no restrictions. You can dedicate whatever budget is realistic to each one of the partners. That would be, I think that would be the most important questions. I will only leave the links in the chat box for the toolbox. Let me just double check the link. Basically on the open call page, here it is. In the chat, there is a section with explore the toolbox and explore the DRGs. When you click on the explore the toolbox button, it leads you to the toolbox platform, and the DRGs leads you to the page where you can download and read more about the DRGs. The session will be recorded quite soon, uploaded on the YouTube and on the website. And again, I repeat, if you have any further questions, please get back to me via opencalls@drg4food.eu, and to Nika if you have any specific questions related to foodity. Okay, Michal, the gender equality, what does exactly means? Thank you. Okay, gender, we want to ensure basically that you have that you're not only a male development team, that you also have, for example, female researchers and other unrepresented groups. So basically, this is all. And there is again a table in our section 4 where you can introduce your team members. This is all. Yes, I think Mirjana, okay, from Serbia, partner can apply and be a leader and include from partner. Yes, so if you're coming from a non-EU country, this non-EU country partner can be a consortium leader, and then you can include another partner from an EU country, and this would be eligible. Okay. I believe we can close for today. Thank you for your attention and staying with us until the end. Again, for any questions, please get back to either me or Nika for foodity related issues. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing your applications. Goodbye.